Get ready for DIY modern farmhouse decor. They look so high-end, you will not believe how affordable they are to make. And as always, DIY treats. Welcome to my channel, Craft, Eat, Repeat. Hi guys, it's Aneka and welcome to my channel, Craft, Eat, Repeat. So today I have 3 DIYs for you. I am calling them modern farmhouse DIYs, but what I love about these is that you can really make them your own to fit whatever style you have. Depending on how you style it, it can go with more of a rustic farmhouse theme, or what I tend to do is kind of lean more into the boho vibe. Whatever you want, these DIYs are so versatile and I really hope you enjoy them. If you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you like what you see, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Everyone, hit that notification bell so you'll be ready when my next video comes out. And when it's over, head down to the comments and let me know which DIY was your favorite. Or of course, as always, you can just say hi. Also, don't forget to find me on my socials. Let me know what you're crafting, what you're creating, what you're making. I love to see all of it. Okay guys, it's time to craft. For this DIY, I'm going to start with some vases that I got from Dollar Tree. I love the shape of these and I thought they would be perfect for this project. I'm going to use chalk paint and just paint a layer or 2 of paint over all of them, making sure to get all my brush strokes in the same direction because I want that to look nice and smooth when I'm done. Now, I didn't worry too much about the coverage on the bottom because I'm going to be covering that up in the next step. Now I'm going to use a technique that I saw on TikTok to make a really cool textured effect in your paint. So I'm going to use some chalk paint and I went for this light brown color, and then I'm going to add some baking soda to that and combine it completely until it's kind of smooth but a very thick version of chalk paint. Now you can add as much baking soda as you would like to your mixture. That's just going to change the texture and what it looks like when you put it on your vase. So I wanted mine to be pretty thick because I wanted to get the most drastic contrast that I could between that smooth plaster colored chalk paint that I put on there and this textured color. Next, I'm going to use some painter's tape and just tape off where I want the line to be between my 2 colors and textures of chalk paint. Now, this vase is kind of curved, so you really have to work with it to get that line to be straight. The top of your tape is going to be a little wrinkly, but that's okay. You want the bottom of your tape to be nice and smooth because that's going to create a nice clean line when we're done with our project. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other vase, but I thought this one would look pretty cool with an asymmetric look. So I did a high-low effect with my painter's tape in order to add my texture onto the vase. Once everything is taped off, I'm ready to play and experiment with this mixture of paint. Now I decided to do more of a stippling effect on the bottom because I wanted it to kind of look like plaster or mud, or like it had been shaped just by clay or earth. I really liked the idea of that smooth and chunky, but when I put it on there, it was kind of flattening out a little bit on me. So I added some more baking soda and that fixed it right up. It was nice and thick and all those little peaks and valleys from the stippling really showed up. So just play around with it, guys. See what it looks like as you go. Add some paint, just see how you like it. So once I got everything covered, came the most satisfying part of any DIY, which is taking that painter's tape off and revealing that nice clean line. You guys, I love the contrast between that smooth, light chalk paint and that textured effect on the bottom. I think these came out so beautifully. They look so high-end, and you would never guess how quick and easy they were to put together. For my next DIY, I'm going to be using some of these wood boxes that I got from Dollar Tree. I've had these floating around for a while and never really pulled them out to use them. So for this DIY, I'm just going to put the tops to the side. I'm sure I'll use those in a future DIY, but for now I just need the bottom. I'm going to paint them with Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster, making sure to get the tops, bottoms, and all the sides. So next, I wanted my planters to have a word on them, so I went for my stencil, which, you guys, I am not awesome at stenciling. I am trying to get better at it, but I thought the word grow would be really cute to put on the side of a planter. However, once I finished, my letters were so wonky. I could not get them straight. I tried twice before giving up, and you'll see at the end what I put on there instead. But here's a look at my fail. I did eventually cover it up, and you know, that's the nice thing about paint. You can always just cover it up if you mess up. Next, I needed some paint stirring sticks, and these are all 1 gallon paint stirring sticks. Depending on the size of hanging planter that you want to make, you could use the 5 gallon, or you could just use some wooden dowels if you have them around. Because you'll be able to see both sides when we finish this project, I wanted to go ahead and sand off the ruler side on the paint stirring stick. Now some of these come without those numbers on there, but if yours have them, you can just sand them right off. Next, I got a plunger, which I got from Dollar Tree, and all I need is the wooden dowel from the plunger. And I hate how they put the stickers on there, you guys. I use heat to get the sticker off, and it comes off really easily, but it always leaves this stickiness behind that is really difficult to paint over, or if I want to stain my wood, it kind of gets in the way. Let me know down in the comments if you have found any tips or tricks with that little sticker on these plungers from Dollar Tree. I really wish they would just put it on the actual plunger part. I mean, don't they know that we're using these plungers for crafting instead of actual plunging? Anyways, I just used an emery board to kind of sand it down to get that stickiness off, because I wanted to have a nice smooth surface for the next step. So what I'm going to do now is I'm cutting off that rounded edge, because I'm going to want to put this together, and I think it might be a little tricky if the end is not straight. So I just used my handsaw and cut that right off. Then I just measured out how long I wanted my planter to be. In my case, I did about 13 inches. Of course, you can make yours longer or shorter depending on what you're going to be hanging from it. So I cut that off at 13 inches, and I sanded down both ends to make sure they were nice and smooth. And now it's time to stain the wood. I'm using this Rust-Oleum wood stain in the color American Walnut, and I'm just painting it onto my paint stirring stick, and then I'm using a paper towel to wipe off any excess stain. I love the color this stain gives. It's got a little bit of a red tint to it, and I just think it's really pretty. I use it in a lot of my DIYs. Of course, I feel like everyone has their own favorite color of stain, and you can do whatever color you'd like. I think this might also look really nice to do with white paint stirring sticks and maybe painting the planters, the little boxes, a different color. So just play around with it and see what you like. So I'm going to do the same thing to all 4 of my paint stirring sticks, as well as the dowel from my plunger. I gave those about an hour to dry, and then I was ready to drill some pilot holes. So I drilled some holes in both ends of my wooden dowel, and also right in the middle of that curvy part of the neck of the paint stirring stick. Now I just grabbed my little hand drill, and this was very easy to get through. This wood is not very thick at all. I also chose which side I wanted to hang it from, and I put 2 holes at the top of opposite sides of my planter boxes as well. And as you can see, instead of putting the word grow on the side of my planter, I ended up just making a number box, which I actually think is very on trend. I love that look, and for some reason it was just easier to get those letters to line up with my stencil. Next, just to add a little bit of stability, I'm going to use some hot glue and a finishing nail, and I'm going to crisscross 2 of my paint stirring sticks, making sure to put a little bit of hot glue in between. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other two paint stirring sticks. Now I did measure both of them together to make sure that they ended up at about the same distance on the bottom. This way I can make sure my planter would be nice and even when I set it up. And once again, I used a little hot glue on the nail and then I secured that to the dowel. Now, you guys, you have to kind of play with this a little bit to make sure that you're doing it nice and straight. But once you're done, you have a nice frame for your planter. Now I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I can hang my boxes onto my planter. I decided to use this rope that I have. You can also use twine. You can use wire. I think the chains from the planters that they have at Dollar Tree would also be a really cute look with this, but I decided to use some thin rope that I have, and I wanted my knots to be on the outside of my box because I thought that would be a cute little detail and add some visual interest. So I used some painter's tape to help me put my rope through that small tiny little hole. I tied it off at one end. I put it back through the other side once I had put it around my dowel, and then I had my planters. I love how this looks. I like how I could switch this out. I could use it for all seasons. I can't wait to put a little greenery on top of it for Christmas, and I can't believe I made it out of some free paint stirring sticks and a toilet bowl plunger. And the last DIY is a little welcome sign that would be perfect in a little vignette, even on a tiered tray. You can put it on your entrance, wherever you'd like. I'm going to start out by using this mirrored frame that I got from Dollar Tree. I love these little frames. They're really scrolly and pretty, and they have them from time to time. So just check your Dollar Tree and see when they get them in. I didn't want it to be completely black, so I wanted to do a little dry brushing in white. All dry brushing means is that I got just a tiny little bit of paint on my paintbrush and I wiped most of it off, and then I went over the entire frame and kind of whitewashed it with the chalk paint. Next, I used this welcome sign, and this is just one of the little metal words that come in a pack of 3. They have them for all occasions. This one I think had a welcome, a blessed, and a thankful. And I'm just using some brown chalk paint, once again dry brushing it to get a little bit of that shine off and to make it look a little weathered and aged. Once that's done, I decided I wanted to add a little bit of ribbon to it, and I think this would look really cute with some burlap ribbon, but I actually didn't have any, and I've been eyeballing this ribbon to use for a while. It's a bit rustic, but it's got that gold in it, so it's kind of like a rustic glam type of a look. I really love it. I decided to wrap it around my picture frame, and here you'll see me wrap it around, do a little bit of a loop, and then go around the back. But I did go back afterwards and kind of cinch in that back half too, because I thought that gave it a really nice look. Now I'm making this just kind of as an all occasions type of a thing, but I think this would be beautiful at Christmas time with Christmas greenery. So I just grabbed some everyday greenery that I had and I put it in with some hot glue at a diagonal angle on 2 sides of my ribbon. And then once that was done, I added a little bit of twine to cinch it in the middle, make sure everything stayed secure, and just to give it another little touch of rustic farmhouse charm. After that was done, all I needed to do was add my welcome sign to my frame. Now, I had a thought that this would be adorable if I cut out little names of people and made place settings for Thanksgiving using this and some Thanksgiving fall greenery. I think it would look beautiful, and I think this idea can go in so many different directions. So as happens sometimes, I honestly cannot choose a favorite from today's DIYs. That welcome sign was so easy, but adds that little touch of farmhouse charm. Those vases, oh my gosh, I love the technique. I think they look so high end and I'm kind of obsessed with them right about now. And of course that planter. Planters always have my heart. I'm trying to add more greenery in my space at home, and that is right up my alley. But head down to the comments and let me know which DIY was your favorite. So for today's treat, I have something with a little bit of a fall vibe, just because that's the time it is when I'm recording this video, but you could really eat this anytime and it would be just as delicious. So it's time to eat. So today's treat is a savory snack, and it's perfect for those fall get-togethers, for the holidays, or really just a healthy treat if you want one at home. I'm going to start out by chopping some cauliflower, some carrots, or you could use orange bell pepper if you prefer that, and some yellow bell pepper. I'm going to cut these pretty small because I need them to fit on these little mini naan breads that you can get at your grocery store. Now I'm going to use some hummus, but you could also use cream cheese if that's more your speed. And I'm just going to put that onto my naan. Now I thought these were perfect because they were shaped just like little candy corns. So I wanted to make a healthy treat that my kids would actually want to eat and then give them some candy corn afterwards. So I'm gonna pull out my little candy corn so I can do this in order. I'm gonna start with my yellow bell pepper on the bottom, then a layer of my carrots, and then right on top of that, I'm going to put my cauliflower. Now, I made this for my daughter's lunchbox, and this was literally the first time she ate cauliflower without complaining. It was magic. I think it's delicious, and my kids love it. I hope you enjoyed the DIYs I had for you today. Give this video a thumbs up if you did. Head down to the comments and let me know which one was your favorite. And hit that subscribe button if you want to see more of my DIYs. Thank you guys so much for your love and support. I couldn't do it without you, and I'm so very grateful. And I'll see you next time when we repeat it all again.